And suddenly it takes in a different direction, marketplace, or so many vasanas are there in you, likes and dislikes. That which you like, that will come in a particular form, a thought form, and take you away from the object of your effort. So that is at that level. That is one method. Just observing the thoughts neutrally, reminding yourself that you are not the mind, you have nothing to do with the thoughts, you are the Sakshi Chaitanya, you are a witness here. But you got mixed up with these chitta vrittis, and consequently all these problems. So you try to dissociate from that by making that particular exercise. That is prescribed by Buddha Bhagavan long ago, and more recently Swami Vivekananda and others.
I have a question. I have a question.
You got a question? Wait. After this is over, in between don't raise question. Now then, so you find this is at the level of mind. Now Patanjali Maharshi goes deeper, and there is a lot to understand and discuss about mind. We'll come to it. These 3 days, each day Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya, they are all together because they are all functional aspects of the same power. Antakaranam is one. But it performs different functions, different names are given. And the first thing is, it rises up as Ahankara, and then it functions as Chittam, where it records. And the third thing is manifests as thoughts, third level. And the fourth level, a decision-making thing called intellect or buddhi. And each level, the same power, but functions differently, and so different names are given. It is something like a person being called father. He is father of so-and-so. He is son of so-and-so. He is husband of so-and-so, brother of so-and-so. The same individual, but he is depending upon the relationships to different individuals, he is given different names. And his activity also will be different. The father comes, he gets up out of respect. And his son comes, he orders him, do this, do that. Wife comes, he treats in one way. And if mother comes again, he treats in a different way. So the same individual, by his behavioral patterns, we understand what he is with relation to that particular situation. So also this particular antakarana, or what we use, the common term used is manas, or mind. Now we have to deal with it at various levels. The first level is the superficial level, all visible, known to everybody. This is hidden. These chitta vrittis are not visible. And we can know them by the pattern of thoughts that arise, by the activities he indulges in. Then we know what type of chitta vritti he has got inside, positive or negative or whatever it is. And Patanjali Maharshi says, well, you must deal with them. And the whole world, whatever you see here, and whatever is happening, is because of the interaction of vrittis alone. And in 3 sutras, he tells you everything. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha, tadha drashtu swarupen vastanam. If you do yoga and arrest the mental tendencies of chitta vrittis, you will be in your natural state. You are a Sakshi Chaitanya essentially. You are Satchidananda. But you have identified yourself with various things and involved yourself in various activities because of the chitta vrittis. The chitta vrittis are influencing you. You don't know about it. You may say, I am very natural, but I am not under influence of any vrittis. Where are they? You may say like that. But then Patanjali Maharshi is not agreeing. He says, no, you are under the influence of chitta vrittis if you are not doing yoga and arresting the chitta vrittis. That is his statement. Now we will see whether he is right or whether we are right. Now the third sutra is Vrittisarupya Mitaratra. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. Tadha, if you do that, tadha drashtu swarupen vastanam. You will be in your natural Sakshi Chaitanya state. If you don't do that, you will be under the influence of chitta vrittis. Vrittisarupya Mitaratra. So we have got only 2 choices. Either we do yoga and arrest the chitta vrittis or mental tendencies, and consequently you remain in your natural state of Satchidananda or Sakshi Chaitanya, or you don't do yoga and chitta vritti nirodha, you don't do. The consequence will be under the influence of vrittis. So ordinary people are all under the second category. That is, they are under the influence of chitta vrittis, and because of that, you see all this world. of names and forms. If you can arrest them, and you can remove the influence of the chitta vrittis on you, you will be in your natural state. So, only two alternatives. Either you are under, you regulate the chitta vrittis, control them, and consequently be in your natural state. Or
Be under the influence.
you will be under the influence of chitta vrittis. Be aware of the chitta vrittis, which are influencing us. We don't see them. And he gives further explanations. Vruttaya panchatayaha, he says. There are only 5 vrittis. But these 5 vrittis, by their combination, 1, 2 or 3 or 4 as the case may be, all this world has come. So much of diversity is there. All this diversity he attributes to the influence of these 5 vrittis. It is something like the 26 letters are there in English language. But in the dictionary, so many words are there. Same letters. But when they combine in different forms, different meanings are there. D-O-G, dog. And G-O-D, God. Now the same letters. 3 letters. But you reverse this and the order of way, well, immediately the meaning differs and the word differs and so on. So also here. The vrittis are only 5 in number. Now in the case of that genetic code language, only 4 letters are A-T-G-C they say. But these 4 letters, if they combine in different ways, you find a mosquito being formed in one place and a human being in another place. The genetic code will be so near but slight differences. Oh, the result is 4 apart. The genetic code language, which is uniform for all the living things. And whoever has designed, that Sachidananda Paramatma has designed it, and you find it applicable to all the diversities you see in the living world. So also here, according to Patanjali Maharshi, well, all the diversity you see in this world is due to only 5 vrittis. And he further gives the explanations and examples and all that. Now, Chitta Vrittaya Panchatayaha, there are only 5 vrittis. What are they? Pramana, Viparya, Vikalpa, Nidra, Smatayaha. Pramana vritti is there. And Viparya vritti is there. Vikalpa vritti is there. And Nidra also, sleep also is a vritti according to him. And this, what is that? Smriti vritti. Memory. Now we have to see whether Maharshi Patanjali is right, that all these things, or to, I take the example. Now they give the examples also. Pratyaksha Pramana. Pramana is again 3 types. Pratyaksha Pramana, Anumana Pramana, and Agama Pramana. Pratyaksha means you see, you hear. And so you accept it as real. I see this, there is a door. I see this, there is a timepiece. Pratyaksha Pramana. I hear the sound of a crow. I say there is a crow there. I have not seen that. But I infer from this sound that there is a crow there. There is a dog there because there is a bark of the dog. This is inferential knowledge or Anumana Pramana. And the third thing is the Agama Pramana. Now we are trying to understand what this Atma Paramatma means. But who has seen this Atma Paramatma? None of us has seen. There is nobody who has direct understanding of what Atma Paramatma is. All are interested in this campus because they all worship Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna is saying, Aham Atma Parama, and so on. And in the Upanishad, the rishis are mentioning that such words, Atma, Jiva, Atma, Paramatma, and all that. So we accept this, their authority. But on the other hand, suppose a Muslim comes and says, I don't care what Krishna is, who is Krishna, and Bhagavad Gita nonsense. Suppose he says like that. For him, this is not an authority. He says there is no Atma Paramatma. So authority is being accepted. This is the Agama Pramana. Atma Paramatma, real for us. That is why we are taking so much of trouble. And why? Because Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita, because the Upanishadic Rishis said, and Lord Krishna is Yogeshwara, is Bhagavan, for the Hindus. And so they accept these things. This is what is called Agama Pramana. I have not gone to America. I have not seen New York or Washington. But somebody has gone there, comes up and says, I have seen it, here is the photograph, and so on and so forth. We accept it. Why? Because we believe that fellow is your friend or your parent or relative. There is no reason why he should tell lies. And also he is giving a photographic evidence of himself being in New York or Washington. So he accepted. It's not a direct evidence, it is indirect evidence. What type of indirect? Agama type. This is what is called Agama type. You accept somebody as an authority and then accept it as a truth. Now this is about Pramana Vitti. Next thing is Viparya Vritti. There is something there, you superimpose another idea on that and feel that it is real, this superimposed idea. The famous example given is the rope and the serpent. In darkness, you stepped on a rope and you thought there is a snake here. Oh, that compound, that Vyasa compound is full of trees and forests, and the snake naturally would have come. And I stepped on it, and you ran here and there, and then bring a torch and see, there is no snake there. There is only a rope. What has happened here? Rope is there because of confusion and ignorance. You superimpose the idea of snake on that. And then the results follow. You become frightened, you ran here, there, all those things. And such things are happening here, it seems. You see something, you superimpose some other idea on that. That is, Viparya Vritti is operating in your mind, in that particular situation. And consequently, you do so many things which may not be relevant, which may not be based on reality. Reality is something, but Viparya Vritti makes you think that it is something else. You take a child with you and the dog barks. The dog is barking because there is another dog there and it is barking. But the child thinks that it is barking towards him and she gets frightened. And the elderly person says, don't worry, it is not barking towards us. So what's happening? This baby or boy is superimposing his own imagination on the particular sound. He is not seeing the other dog, but he is seeing that it is barking at him. And he gets frightened, and so on. So this is Viparya Vritti. There are other examples also for that. Vikalpa Vritti, the Vastu Sunyaha, Shabda Anupati. There will be a sound relating to something. But there is no corresponding object there. For example, they talk about Gandharva Nagaras. Where are Gandharva Nagaras? Where are the Gandharvas? They are there in the sky, it seems. Gandharva Nagaras. The horns of a hare. See the rabbits' horn, they don't have horns. And yet the word is there, popularly used. And such things are referred to. Where there is no object, concrete object is not there. But you find that particular word is popularly being used and referred to as if it is there.
Swamiji, what is Vastu Shunyaha?
Huh?
You said Vastu Shunyaha.
Yes, there is no object.
But they think it is there.
Yes, that vritti is there.
Okay.
Without an object, a word is created.
Okay.
And the word is popularly used.
And
So that is Vikalpa Vritti. Now here, in this Viparya Vritti also, you can attribute that. There is no snake. But you superimpose on this an imaginary thing called snake. Vastu Sunyaha. There is no snake, such a thing as snake. And yet, you behave as if there is a snake. And then frightened, and then do this and that. That is, you are under the influence of Vikalpa Vritti also. Viparya Vritti is there, superimposition of something over what is already there, which is real. This is unreal. But here, that thing applies to the Vikalpa Vritti also.
like unicorn horse.
And then there is Smriti Vritti. Smriti Vritti means the memory. Somebody called me a donkey, and in the presence of ladies, so I became very angry. That fellow is a rascal, I say. 10 years back it happened. But suddenly, after 10 years, that fellow comes. Immediately, my memory tells me, this fellow is a rascal. You might have changed, you might have become a very good person, and you might come there to praise you and pay respects to you. But as soon as you see him, you will say that this fellow is a rascal, he called me donkey long ago, 10 years ago. All this happened, and it is there in the memory. Smriti Vritti comes. And consequently, your attitude or behavior may be this way or that way. So what is happening here? Smriti Vritti is influencing you. And that thing happens very often in the world, it seems. And Nidra is Abhava Pratyaya. That is, so you are covered by ignorance, so you don't know anything. So we have to see. Now snakes and ropes we don't see every day. And these hairs and horn and nagaras also. What we see is, we see the cloth is very familiar. The table is there, the wall is there, the door is there. These are all very familiar, normal things. And how is it? According to Patanjali, it is not real. It is not real. It is there because you are under the influence of our things. That is what he says. So we have to verify that statement. Whether all the things we see or because we are under the influence of our things, or they are real. If they are real, well, this statement is not correct. If they are unreal and yet we think they are real because we are under the influence of Chitta Vrittis, then Maharshi Patanjali is right. Now, I take the example of a cloth. Do you recognize? Did you visit Kasi? Varanasi?
Yes.
No. Those who have witches there, they would have seen this. They warn
So
people
many.
early morning, they'll be going for bath there to Ganga. They'll be wearing this towel around or on their shoulder. And this in white color will be there. It will be generally used in Kerala. And still more thin, very, very porous. And they call it Noir Tower. What is Noir Tower? The Noirs are people, what caste people there. Perhaps they use it. Anyway, that word has became popular. Now anyway, this is the cloth. Now Pratyaksha Pramana is there. You see it. So it is real. But then let us examine whether it is real or not. Now it has got so many names. It is called Kapada in Hindi. And in English it is Vastram in Telugu. Huh? And other languages, what is there in your language?
Kaga.
Huh?
Kaga.
Kaga. Kaga. If I say Kaga, nobody will understand. Neither the English people nor
Batte in Kannada.
Batte. Batte. What is that language? Kannada. Kannada is Batte. But if you say Batte in England, they will not know. They'll say, what is Batte? And so also in different. There are 200 languages in the world. And there may be 200 words for this. And one may not be recognized in another region and so on. Now anyway, whatever the name may be, there is something here, you see, and you have got a name for that. Now let us see what it is. It is made up of, what are they? Threads. And suppose I take away all the threads, I tear it into pieces, and you see there is a small bit of cloth, the remaining thing is all threads. A bundle of threads are there. I put it here. They are visible. You can take a photo or a video of this bundle. What is this? A group of threads. So, if you remove all the threads, the cloth will disappear. The cloth is there, a word. But when you see for what it is, there is no such thing as cloth. Only threads are there. Just as the rope and the serpent. When you bring the torch and see it, there is a rope there, no serpent. So when you analyze it closely and do research on the cloth, and you find that actually there are only threads. You ought to have called it a bundle of threads, but nobody calls it that way. They use a particular word, an imaginary word, which differs from language to language. And why are all the people, all the English knowing people say cloth, all the Telugu knowing people vastram, all the, what is it?
Kaga.
Kaga. From that region, that language. Why? Because we are taught at a very early age that particular word cloth. All the English people, the babies, the children generally ask, what is this, what is this? Because they are newcomers to this world, so everything is new for them, they want to know. And they ask, what is this, what is that? And the elderly people will say, this is cloth. And suppose he says something else, then something happens, and the fellow will shed tears and will not say anything other than cloth. Why? That Shruti Vritti will be there. He will remember that this should be called cloth only. Otherwise, there will be some punishment by the elders. So it is strongly implanted in him, the word cloth. As soon as he sees it, he says cloth. Throughout his life. What is influencing him?
Smriti.
Smriti vritti is influencing. These vrittis are there. Pratyaksha pramana is seeing something there, but he doesn't know what it is in the beginning. And he has been taught and he has remembered that particular lesson. So as soon as he sees it, immediately cloth is the word he uses if he is an Englishman speaking person. So actually one should have called it a bundle of threads. Threads are real, like the snake. Cloth is unreal. It's an imaginary word created and popularized by a certain group of people only. That group only, that word will be there. Because it started at a very early age. And it is implanted in this Smriti Vritti. And it comes and influences the individual to say that there is a cloth there. Now let us see what threads are. What are threads? Threads, you know?
Cotton.
Yes. This is cotton. You see how it is. And this cotton, they have made into then they put it in the spinning mill. And the spinning mill spins the thread. They talk in terms of numbers. 100 count, 30 count, 50 count, like that. That is number the girls it undergoes. It makes it very thin or very thick thread. And the weaver weaves it, or the textile mills, they do the rest. But whatever it is, the threads are unreal. Cotton is real. Because it is made up of cotton only, one should say cotton modified. But you don't say that. You say the word thread only. Because that word is taught at the very early stage. And there are 200 words for that in different languages. What do you call a thread?
Gahar.
Dhara.
Gahar.
Ghat.
Gahar.
Gahad. Ye Gahad hai. What do you understand? You don't understand because you don't know that language. And so also, 200 words are there, and one reason people do not know what the other man is talking. If he uses that particular word which has been taught to him at a very early age, and it has come into the Smriti Vritti type. So Smriti Vritti is influencing again to say the word thread and not cotton. So thread word is a word only, there is no real material there. The real matter is, cotton is the real thing. That is like the snake, superimposed. So cloth is gone. There is no such thing as cloth. It is unreal. Because you are under the influence of Pramana Vritti, Pratyaksha Pramana Vritti, and Smriti Vritti, well, you are saying that it is a cloth. Right? And also Viparya Vritti is there. Threads are there, real. Like a snake, this cloth word is being superimposed on that. It is an imaginary thing. There is no such thing. Just as there is no such snake there in that particular situation. Vikalpa Vritti also is there. The word cloth is popularly used by all English knowing people. But there is no corresponding object like that. And what they say cloth is actually a bundle of threads. Threads are real. Accept them. They are there. But threads are not real. Cotton is real. Again, the four vrittis are coming. Pramana vritti is there. I see something and call it thread.
Smriti.
And Smriti vritti is there because I have been taught like that word. And Viparya vritti is there. Cotton is there. You superimpose the word thread on that. Like the snake on the rope. Viparya vritti is there. And Vikalpa vritti is there. The thread as an object is not there. As an object only cotton is there. So again Vikalpa vritti is operating. So four vrittis are intertwining with each other and making it appear. Cloth in the beginning, threads now, and this is the reality. Cotton alone is real in this particular thing. All others are superimposed chitta vrittis, results of chitta vrittis. The cloth as well as the thread. Now what is cotton? Cotton is the hairs on the gossypium seed. Cotton plant is there. It produces seeds. And the seeds will have hair. And that hair is known as cotton. But actually we should have said They are the hairs of the seed of cotton. Nobody says that. It's just cotton. Why you have been taught like that? As soon as the baby asks, what is this? He says, it is cotton. If he says anything else, well, he will learn the lesson and he will not forget it. Cotton is an English word, taught for the English knowing people. There are 200 words for that again. And this is only a hair on the seed of the cotton plant. And now if you put it under the microscope, the biologist will say it is a single cell without protoplasm. Only cell wall is there. That is what biology will say. So what is it? It is a hair. What is the hair? Hair is a cell wall without the living substance inside. And what the chemistry fellow will come and say, this is made up of cellulose. Cellulose is a carbohydrate. So the cell wall is made up of a substance, according to the chemist, a matter called cellulose. Cellulose is a carbohydrate. Carbohydrate means there are 3 atoms there, carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. And hydrogen oxygen in the ratio of water. In the water there are only two atoms, hydrogen and oxygen. And there will be the ratio of 2:1. 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom, they combine to form what is called water. And in this carbohydrate, carbon also is added to hydrogen and oxygen, where the number will be in the ratio of 2 and 1. 2 hydrogen, 1. Now for example, glucose is a carbohydrate. Sucrose is a carbohydrate. Now glucose will have the formula C6H12O6. Now H and O are there here also, as in water. But 12:6 is the number. Atomic number is, whereas in water it is 2:1, H2O. Here it is H12O6. That means again 2:1 ratio. And sucrose is ordinary sugar. And sucrose has got a number where this is doubled again. The glucose doubled. 2 molecules of glucose minus 1 molecule of water is equal to sucrose. So instead of 12, there will be 22. Actually 24 should be there. 2 is removed. And so on. So cellulose is one such compound. Carbohydrate, there is carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, but the number of atoms will be many. This is very simple one, glucose. It will be many number. It may be 100 or it may be 60 or 50 or whatever. So according to chemistry fellow, this is what? Cellulose. And cellulose is a carbohydrate, and so 3 types atoms are there. Hydrogen, oxygen and carbon also. Carbohydrate. So where are we now? The cloth has disappeared. Thread disappeared. Cotton also disappeared. We are now landed in 3 atoms. Carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. And in a particular ratio, whatever it is. And then you say, what is this carbon, what is this hydrogen, what is oxygen? You can separate them chemically. And all of them are elements, different elements, but they have got subatomic particles. Each atom, in the beginning they thought it is unbreakable, but later on they broke it. And inside, subatomic particles are there, electrons and protons. The number of electrons vary from carbon to hydrogen to oxygen. That will determine the characteristics or properties of carbon, hydrogen or oxygen, as the case may be. So what has happened now? Even cellulose has disappeared, atoms also disappeared, the electrons and protons are a real thing, subatomic particles. The remaining things are superimpositions taught by somebody, remembered by the Smriti Vritti, and immediately they call it that way. If you are trained in a particular way of looking at it. Or that it's something like a language. Chemistry is one language, biology is another language, a scientific language. One who learns that language, well, he will use those words. He will say it is cellulose by the chemist. It is hair of a seed, according to the biologist. Then the physicist comes. He talks about energies and all that. Electron is negatively charged. Proton is positively charged. There is only energy there, according to the physics. So whatever, where are we now?
Energy.
Cloth has disappeared, red has disappeared, cotton has disappeared, cellulose has disappeared, atoms were there, atoms also gone, electrons, photons were there, they have also disappeared, only energy waves are there, positive and negative. So, the scientists have come to the conclusion. They examined all the things in the world, and everywhere it is the same thing. They are all made up of atoms and molecules, and atoms are now known to be made up of electrons and protons. These are all physical facts. They are not Sanskrit shlokas telling it all that, no. They are telling about physical facts. This world around us and concrete realities, these are more real than what you say real, because they experimentally proved it. And atoms are there, enormous energy is there inside the atom. They have thrown at Hiroshima one bomb and the entire city has disappeared. Such is the effect of one single bomb. And they threatened the whole of Second World War have come to a stop simply by two bombs. One on Hiroshima and another on Nagasaki. And they said we have got many. They have got only two bombs. Two they have used. But the Americans threatened, you see, I have got many atom bombs. We will throw it on Tokyo. All of you will disappear. What is the use? So you surrender. If you remain, you can go and stay in Andhra Pradesh. Or so, if you want to survive, you please surrender. They surrender. As per their conditions. They said you should not make atom bombs. That is one condition. Because tomorrow you make more bombs and you may throw it on America. So Germany and Japan are prohibited from making atom bombs. They can make. China can make, Russia can make, but Japan cannot make atom bombs. And Germany also was defeated, and so that is it. Now anyway, so is Maharshi Patanjali right or are we right? We say that these are real. And Maharshi Patanjali says, you are under the influence of Chittavrittis, and that is why you see a cotton, a thread, a cotton and so on and so forth. They are not real. They are not there. What is real is, the energy alone is real. And what is energy? We don't know what it is. But its effects are known, and so we accept that it is there. This thing called energy. Even now they don't know what energy means. They give definitions, flow of electrons and all these things. But it doesn't tell anything about this thing called energy. So now, the other day we examined this I am. And we came to the conclusion that I am means Satchidananda. Right?
Guruji, Abhava Pratyaya.
I will do it again, so that you may firmly establish that this particular I am. So there are only two things here. One is the I am, other is the body. The body is there. It is made up of protoplasm and cells. This is a physical fact. And when they examine this protoplasm, see, cells are there, billions of cells, and each cell is a bit of protoplasm, a living substance. And the protoplasm is a jelly-like liquid. And all living things are made up of this protoplasm, and in the form of cells, of course. And protoplasm they analyze. There are 13 elements. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, potassium, nitrogen, and so on and so forth. But when they put them together, life is not coming. What is life is one important question in biology. There is a separate chapter, what is life? And they go on analyzing, they finally arrive at protoplasm. Life means protoplasm. And protoplasm does all the life activities. Respiration, who is doing respiration? Not the nose, not the lungs, but the cells. And in the cells only protoplasm is there. So protoplasm is doing respiration. Who is doing digestion? Not the mouth, not the stomach. But inside the cell, the glucose comes there, it is broken down, and the materials are used for constructing new protoplasm. So, this creating of new life, or called protoplasm, is possible only in a protoplasmic being. Outside the protoplasm, nobody is able to do. Even the scientists have been claiming we are ready, we are going to produce, they have not produced so far. Since 2000 years they are shouting like that, but they are not able to do it. But mysteriously, since crores of years, this protoplasm has appeared and it is multiplying and it is becoming so many varieties of living organisms. This is it. So what do we conclude now? Under the influence of vrittis, well, these things are there, the material things. That is the conclusion. All are made up of energy and its modifications. And mysterious thing called life. What life is, even now they do not know. What energy is, they do not know. But the yogis and rishis have been saying that there are two entities in this world. One is Chit, another is Shakti. Chit Shakti, this is a dance drama of Chit Shakti, the whole world. If you examine, you will find only two things ultimately. Now we have examined this. This is a non-living thing. You found only energy. On the other hand, if you analyze a living organism, you will find this consciousness or intelligence at every stage. And what is this? That is this I am. And in addition to I am, there is a body also there, and it is all made up of protoplasm. And on analysis, we find this protoplasm is nothing but energy alone. And whatever is called life, well, they say, is the Chaitanya Shakti. So they come to the conclusion that there is what is called Chit, or consciousness, there is energy. So this is, the whole thing is a Chit Shakti dance drama. You examine anything in the world, you will find either this or that or combined both. In the case of human being, there is both. The energy in the form of a body, and there is this I am. I am, everybody says. And what is this I am we examine? And we examine in a particular way. I will do it same today also. And I will also add that story, which is the basis of this. This story is given in one book called Vasudeva Mananam. There are many stories to illustrate the Vedantic truths. And the story says, one gentleman was rearing a cow. And the cow yielded milk and he used to sell it, and that was his livelihood. So gradually he was serving the cow, feeding it, washing it, and so on and so forth. He developed attachment to the cow. Mamakara has come. My cow is very dear. It is producing milk, making me survive. And at some time he got vairagya, he got disgusted with worldly samsara, he gave up everything and joined Yogirama Tapovanam, our ashram. And in the ashram, the Guru there tells, say you can't keep quiet here, eating and sleeping is not business, you must do japa also, do something useful. This is a very useful thing, you do that. Whenever he sat for japa, this cow was coming into the room, not Lord Krishna. Because he developed a lot of attachment to this cow, having served it for a long period. Whenever he sits for japa, immediately the cow is pratyaksha. So he got up, right? Then he went to the Guru again. Sir, this is the trouble. Instead of Krishna, this cow is coming again and again into my mind. What shall I do? He said, oh, don't worry, I will tell you a secret. And you apply that secret and the problem will be solved. The secret he mentioned was, every object in this world has got 4 characteristics. The Rishis have done research and discovered that there is what is called Satchidananda Parabrahman. Brahman is there. It is not a name. It is the characteristic of that particular something which is unknown and unknowable, like this energy. That it is characterized by Sat, Chit and Ananda. Sat is existence, Chit is awareness and consciousness, and Ananda is what we know. Sukha, happiness. Happiness is also known as this Ananda or Sukha. Now, you apply this. Whenever cow comes, previously you saw only the name and form. The cow has got a form, 4 legs, horns, etc. And immediately you say it cow. Word attached to that, name attached to it. Now hereafter, you see the 2 more characteristics there. That cow exists and you are aware of its existence. Of course, it is a mental form. So that is all what you have to do. Instead of seeing only 2 characteristics, name and form, nama rupa, you see this existence and awareness also. That is all. Whenever it comes, you see this. And every object in this world will have those 4 characteristics. And it seems he did it, and soon after his attention was riveted on this existence and awareness, and the cow gradually disappeared. Anyway, whatever that problem of that gentleman is, our problem is we are seeing all these things, and the same applies here also, the same rule. Every object is having 4 characteristics. We generally see only 2 of them, Nama and Rupa. Yes, this is Android or a cell phone. It's a name, they got a form. It exists, and I am aware of its existence. This is an American girl, doll, and it has got a name, it has got a form, and it exists. I am aware of its existence. This is a clock. It exists. I am aware of its existence. There are 100 articles here. Every one of them has got a separate name and form, but there is Sat and Chit everywhere associated with these objects. Sat and Chit, or existence and awareness, is common for all. We don't have so many Sats and Chits, so many existences and awarenesses. There is no plural term like that. There is only one Sat and Chit spread everywhere here, just like this light. Wherever light falls, you see the object. But you don't find so many lights here. Only one light is spreading. And because of that, you see the different names and forms here. So also, this Sat and Chit is something which makes you become aware of various objects, because it is associated with every object. Now I examine my own body. I have got 5 fingers. There is a little finger, ring finger, these names we have got, and separate shapes. But this exists, I am aware of its existence. This exists, I am aware of it. Sat, Chit, Sat, Chit, Sat. Sat means existence, Chit means awareness. So, there are so many organs and parts in the body, and each one of them is associated with Sat and Chit. So, Sat and Chit is not only in this heart, it is also available in the body, inside, outside. Then I see the mind. So many thoughts are coming, useful, useless, neutral, and so on. And each thought will have a form and a name. My friend appeared. How do you know? The friend's shape is there, the mental shape. And he has got a name, I remember that. So, the Sat and Chit are there, associated with every thought which arises in the mind. Then lastly I come to this I am. I am, everybody says I am. What is this I am? It has no particular name and form. Whatever upadhi is there, that name and form is superimposed. This nenu here says the female, tall, short, whatever it is, superimposed. So also on this I am. What is this I am? This Swamiji is tall, short, old, young, and so on. All these characteristics are superimposed on them. And here is Michael Dodds. Michael Dodds from Australia is tall, he is white, this and that. What are all these things? They have nothing to do with this I am. But the I am is superimposed with all these traits. Here is Dr. Spurana. He said Dr. Spurana has got whatever characteristics he's got superimposed on that I am. So you will find I am by itself has got only 2 characteristics. It exists and it is aware of its existence. Everybody says, I exist, I am aware of my existence. Suppose we say, Dharampal, your pen name Dharampal is it? Dharampal ji, you don't exist. You are under an illusion that you are existing. Suppose all of us go and tell him, will he accept? I don't want your certificate, I know I exist, I am fully aware of this particular fact of my existence. What's that? Suppose we say, tell him, you don't exist. You are only under the illusion of you have that you exist. He will accept, he will not accept. Nobody will accept. Everybody will say, I am, I know I exist, I am aware of my existence. So, this is something self-revealing. They have called it Swayam Prakasham. It is self-shining. What? This awareness of its existence, of the I am. Every I am says like that. So wherever there is I am, it is self-awareness is there. Self-shining. No external aid is necessary. You need not go to a college or school to learn that you exist and you are aware of your existence. Is it not so? Universally, all have this experience. So, the I am is equal to Sat, existence, and Chit. Sat, Chit. But they are saying Sat, Chit, Ananda also. Where is this Ananda? Ananda we don't see. No doubt now and then you experience that Ananda. Car has come to you. Happy, I got a car. But the car met with an accident, you are unhappy. You have to go to that repair shop and spend some thousands of rupees. 1 lakh rupees repair. Now you are weeping 1 lakh rupees unnecessarily I lost because of the car. So also the other things. Husband happy, wife happy, but she got cancer. Oh my goodness, what can I do now? She has got to hospital, going round and round. Happy and then unhappiness. So they both go together, happiness and unhappiness. You cannot separate from anything in the world. That millionaire is there, billionaire, not millionaire. That fellow computer, Bill Gates. Bill Gates, it seems, 1,000 crores he has got property. And one of the richest persons in the world, or richest person in the world. And he is going to court, it seems. And he is also shedding tears now and then when he is in the court. What has happened? Something happened, we don't know what it is. But his desires are unfulfilled, so he is going to fight for those desires, fulfillment of the desires. 1,000 crores. If there is 1 crore, you will say, I will be very happy. I don't want anything more. I want 1 crore in the bank. I get so much of interest, I will be happy. But that fellow has got 1,000 crores. And yet he is running after something. And he is unhappy. So, however much you may earn, he may be Obama, the President of America, he has got some headache now. Somebody is being killed there in that Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere. Now he is having headache. What shall I do? This way or that way. If I do this, send our armies, our people will shout, why do you want our people to be killed there and all that? If I don't do, well, those fellows may attack us tomorrow. So problems are there and he is unhappy, unable to decide this way or that way. See that? Now Russia is doing something. Now everybody unhappy all over Europe. But they can't attack him. It is not Afghanistan or Iraq. Russia is a great country. He has got so many atom bombs and he is threatening. I will convert your America into a heap of ashes in no time. Take care, he said. So they are afraid to attack him. But at the same time they can't keep quiet. So they are saying we are putting anshas, that is some prohibitory things, orders. You will not get our meat, you will not get our sweets. Like that. That fellow says, all right, if you don't want to send your sweet, I will not send my petrol to you. I will not. You depend on petrol, your cause will not move. And so on, he is threatening. Like this, you see, everywhere there are problems and headaches. They thought we are happy. Now, necessarily unhappiness has come. But we want always to be happy. Continuously, without any break, I want to be happy. That is the desire of everybody. And here is an assurance that Sat, Chit and Ananda goes always with it, provided it remains as Sat and Chit only. Pure Sat and Chit. That means pure I am. If I am remains as pure I am, it will invariably have Ananda also. But why is this I am suffering? Because it is identifying itself with the body-mind complex. It is a tragedy. That is the starting point of all troubles. Instead of remaining as pure I am, he says I am this. What is her name? Varadanam. Boon giver. She gives boons to everybody, but we don't know whether she has got the boon. Varadanam. So she is running away. She has got a class, it seems. What is her name, you know?
Rati.
Huh?
Rati.
Rati. His name is Rati.
Yeah.
But you are also Rati?
No, I'm Rashmi.
Huh? You are Rashmi, I see. Okay. So, and they are pointing out the rishis and yogis, Sat, Sat and Chit, if it remains, will have automatically peace and happiness. What is your evidence to make such a statement? You are my evidence. Every one of you are going into deep sleep. You got three states: Jagra, Swapna, and Sushupti. And in the Sushupti state, you go somewhere and you get up from that sleep and say, I slept soundly, peacefully and happily. For 6 hours, 6 to 8 hours, they sleep and continuously they enjoy peace and happiness. They are giving the evidence in the early morning. Every one of them. And that person may be healthy or unhealthy, suffering from backache, knee pain and so on and so forth. So many pains. But even he, when he goes to sleep, he doesn't complain about these things. During those 6 to 8 hours, continuously he enjoys peace and happiness. And he is giving a report about it in the morning. There is no car, there is no bank balance, there is no wife, there is no husband, there is no children. And yet, in the wakeful condition, people are saying, I'll be happy if I got a husband or a wife, if I got a car, if I got a beautiful house, if I got bank balance and all that. But none of these things are there. All of them are gone, including this body which he loves so much. Only pure I am is there. And so he enjoys peace and happiness. So if Sat and Chit, that is the I am, remains as pure Sat and Chit as pure I am, invariably, automatically, it will enjoy peace and happiness because it is its own nature. So they use the word Satchidananda. Sat and Chit alone they don't use, always Satchidananda. And they say this ultimate truth they have discovered is Brahman. Brahman means very vast, very big. Tomorrow you will see how big it is. Unimaginably big. And particular word. That word indicates that. And it is also Sat and Chit. Only thing is, it is infinite Sat and Chit. Whereas this I am in the bodies of various living things is only limited awareness. So limited Ananda it has got. It is limited in itself to a particular body. Whereas this Brahman is something which is Sat, Chit and Ananda, no doubt, but it is infinite Sat, Chit and Ananda. And the bliss it enjoys is also infinite. And its characteristics are all very, very astonishing. Infinite love. All the love in the hearts of all living things, if you can put together, all that is a very small thing compared to the love that manifests in the case of Brahman. So infinite love. Infinite power. Look at the stars, galaxies, all these things are small matter for that particular Brahman, small part of that particular Brahman. So enormous is the energy and power. And so enormous is the knowledge also. Since crores of years, all these things are going on, which the modern scientists are revealing. It is something like a Bhagavata, Mahabhagavata. Bhagavata reveals the greatness of the Lord Krishna and other avatars. All their wonderful miraculous feats they have performed. Now the scientists are revealing the miraculous feats that are being performed by Satchidananda Parabrahman. So great, unimaginably great is the knowledge. What is the evidence? The evidence is your DNA, your gene, etc., etc. They were there since crores of years, long before mankind came into existence. For example, the dinosaurs, they lived millions of years ago. Suddenly all of them perished. But their bodies are made up of cells and DNA. See that? So what you call very remarkable achievements of the modern scientists are demonstrating the greatness of Satchidananda Parabrahman or the Creator or Vishwanatha, the Lord of the Vishwam. Vishwam means universe. And the Sat, Chit and Ananda are characteristics of that Brahman. And this I am is a small wave in the ocean of Satchidananda. So it has got, but limitation is there. Limited awareness is I am, Whereas unlimited Satchidananda is the Brahman. That is Paramatma, that is Jivatma. So this is the conclusion which arrived at by the Rishis and Yogis some thousands of years ago. According to them, life means consciousness. Prajnanam Brahma, and that prajna is there in every living thing as awareness. But it is limited to a particular body. And so, because it is this I am is attached to the body, it is experiencing unhappiness also. But it can, if it can dissociate itself from the body-mind complex, as it is doing in deep sleep condition, it will be always peace and happiness. Because that is the nature of I am. That is the true nature of I am. So all those people who are searching for happiness are searching for themselves, about themselves. They are searching for the true I am. That is all. So simple, so easy, but then so difficult. Because he got entangled with this body I am idea since some thousands or lakhs of years ago, and is continuing that. And even now, he is continuing the same. Even when you attend a class like this and become theoretically aware of all these facts, but you cannot get rid of this idea that you are the body. You will say, Swamiji, wonderful your lecture. Now I understand what I am. I am pure Sat and Chit, Ananda. Quite right. But still I am, what is that? Rasmi. And I am Varadana, Varadayini. And I am Spurana, I am Michael, I am Venkatrao. Like that, this is not living. Who are you? What is your name, I ask? What is this? What is your name? He is now doubtful. Previously, you would have said, I am Dharmapal. I am not an ordinary person, I am Dharmapal. I am a great scientist. I am a software engineer. But software engineer. I am not an ordinary person. I am software engineer. I am that. But now I am asking, after all this analysis, vichara, atma vichara, and research on atma and anatma, now I again ask him, what is your name? What is your name, sir? Satchidananda. Anyway, he is a good boy. He has learned the lesson. And he is remembering that lesson. But I don't know how many others will be in the same country. How many will give that answer? They simply say, what is your name, sir? The one is sitting in a chair.
Praveen.
Huh? What is it?
Praveen.
He is Praveen Pai. Is that the answer he gave?
Yes.
He gave that?
Yes.
Praveen Pai.
Yes.
See? You see the difference between Dharma. He is a young man, he is an elderly person. He is an engineer, all right. But this Praveen Pai has stuck to him. He is unable to get out of that. What's your name?
Satchidananda Ravi.
He is a wise person. He doesn't want to lose either of them. So that is it. So your name is Satchidananda, real name, and pseudo name, Vardhani or whatever it is. So that is it. We have come to two things. One is by this Atma Vichara, you have become Viveka. You acquired Viveka now. So you are a Viveki. Previously you are Aviveki. Now I is gone. You have become Viveki. And what is the sign of Viveki? When asked, who are you? He will say, Satchidananda I am. I am existence, awareness and bliss. So that is it. The other thing is the body is there. It is visible. And even though it is not a constant thing, it is undergoing change continuously. From birth to death, continuous change. Every day it is change. So many molecules you are sending inside, in the form of liquids, gases and solids. And so many are going out, molecules, in the form of liquids, gases and solids. It's a continuous flow. This is not like a statue. This is like a river. Just as water flows in the river between two bunds, so also here, in a limited sphere, you find molecules running here, there, inside, outside, continuous flow. You are not the same person at the molecular level. You are not the same person as you were yesterday. You will not be the same person tomorrow. Because so many new molecules have come, the old molecules have gone out of the body. And so many cells have died, so many new cells have come. And consequently, at the level of cells and molecules and atoms, you are something brand new. Every day new. Wonderful, isn't it? Every day new. You are renovating your body. It is something like a building where the bricks are continuously changed. Old bricks are removed, new bricks are entering, suppose. The building will be ever new. New bricks have come, old bricks have gone. So also this body. This body is ever new. What a wonderful thing they have done. Who has done this? Who is doing all this?
Satchidananda.
Satchidananda. As long as Satchidananda is there, that is I am is there, this body will get all respect. Oh, Venkatrao or Dharmapalkam, Aiye, Baitye and all that. But if I am goes away, what will we say? Say, throw this body away as early as possible. His own relatives will say. Previously they said, I love you, wonderful, that, this and all. But once the I am goes, all this is useless. What to do? Yesterday they said, I love you very much. Today they are saying, after the I am is gone, say they have to remove it. It smells bad. If you stay for some more days, it will be horrible, remove immediately and send it away packing. So the I am is the most important thing. It is like a 1 in the numbers. 1 plus 0 is 10. 1 plus 2 zeros is 100. 1 plus 10 zeros, it is several lakhs or crores. But 1 you remove and put 20 zeros, no value at all. So also in life, I am is the only thing that is important. I am in Sat, Chit and Ananda. And this Satya Chitta Ananda limited cannot survive without this infinite Satchidananda. Can a wave survive apart from the ocean? It can never. It is salt water. And ocean is salt water. But if you remove the wave and ask it, please stay here, outside the wave, outside the ocean, will it survive? It will collapse. No, I will go back to this ocean, it will say. So also here, this Satchidananda as I am, limited I am, cannot survive without this ocean of Satchidananda, without Satchidananda Parabrahman. So Jivatma is the wave, Paramatma is the ocean. Both are made up of Satchidananda, just as the wave and the ocean are made up of salt water. Wave is salt water. You may call it tsunami, you may call it cyclone, you may call it by any name if it is very big. But if you go and see what it is, nothing but salt water. And it is always part of the ocean, never separate and independent of the ocean. The Jivatma can never be apart from and independent of Paramatma. But then in popular language, they will say the wave has come, it has merged in the ocean. Where is the merger? It is always merged. It can never be apart from the ocean. So also this Jivatma can never be apart from and independent of Paramatma. But yet they say yoga is uniting Jivatma with Paramatma. Yuga means combining and all these lectures they give. But if you see what it is, because that is the nature of these human beings, they always talk in a topsy-turvy manner. For example, when you go on a road, you say, where will this road go, sir? It will go to Bangalore. But what is the word he is using? Where will this road go? The road won't go anywhere. You will always see it. But the word he uses is, where will this road go? And when he travels in the train, my station has come. Again, my station is always there. It can neither come nor go. And yet he uses the term. He knows it. He really understands that he is using a funny thing. But yet he will not stop that. Whenever the train stops at his station, my station has come, I must go. Right? So also, even though the yogis know that the Jivatma is always united with the Paramatma, can never be separated from it, he will use that term. Jivatma must be united with Paramatma. That is the purpose of yoga. That is what we are trying. Anyway, what is the time now? Oh, it is 3:30. Our time is over. Now you take away. The record is there, and I think it's a very good record. I must take a copy of that.
So, Swamiji,
Yes.
you said Abhava Pratyaya, Nidra is Abhava Pratyaya. Like, what is Pratyaya here?
I don't know. That is one of the grammatical terms they use. But abhava is easily understood.
Absence. Absence,
No
Nidra.
bhava.
and-
No
yeah.
bhava.
Swamiji,
Yes.
Patanjali says Nidra is one of the buddhis.
Yes.
But whereas in the other definition, Nidra is one of the instincts,
What is instincts?
the natural swabhava of the body.
Food, ahara, Nidra.
Ahara, nidra.
No, my question is not the difference part of it, but if it is a vritti, whether we can avoid it.
That's what
Yes.
we are like saying, no?
Yes.
Chitta Nirodha, we have to
Without
control.
sleep, whether we can survive.
Yes, you can survive without sleep, provided you can be as pure I am.
Okay.
Pure I am has no nidra and all that. It is always awake. In samadhi, the yogis remain fully awake, but they are in the state of like goddess Sushupti.
And Swamiji, one more question. Out of 5 Chitta Vrittis, Pramana has 3, Pratyaksha, Anumana and Agama. Agama is the one we should not control, is it? Because like,
Agama is authority. You accept something as
Yeah,
authority.
that's
Based
right.
on the authority, you accept something as real. Atma
yeah,
is real because Krishna Paramatma says.
that's what, so this is the only Vritti we are not controlling it. We accept because like it is coming from elders and like,
Well, it is same, isn't it? Now the people, Quran is authority, they say. So whatever nonsense the Quran may speak, they will accept. Whatever nonsense our Puranas or something says, we accept. Because we accept his authority. Lord Krishna is an authority. Vyasa Maharshi is a great. And so we accept what he says.
yeah, that's what I meant. Only that is Agama, Pramana is the only thing we are not controlling and other Vrittis are like controllable.
Why it is controlling us, isn't it? Agama Vritti. It is being, you are accepting. What does it mean? Because of the Agama Vritti, you are accepting something as authority. You may say it is Bhagavad Gita, somebody else may say Bible, and somebody else may say it is Quran, or whatever it is. Some authority is accepting, and something which is said in the authoritative scripture or individual, he accepts without questioning.
So that's right.
And he questions the other one. Those who believe this Brahman and all that, the other fellows will question, where is Brahman? They'll say. And who is this Vyasa Maharshi? We don't accept Vyasa Maharshi. Now you see this ISKCON people, they read Rashna. And they went to a university. And ISKCON Swami went to university. You put this Krishna consciousness as one of the topics. Department of Krishna consciousness he put. He is asking the university people. He said, what is this Krishna? Who is Krishna? See, Krishna is the Lord of the universe. What? Krishna is the Lord of the universe. We have not seen it. Who said it? Vyasa Maharshi. What? Vyasa Maharshi. Vyasa Maharshi. Why should we accept all that? And suppose I put a department of Krishna consciousness, who will join? And he says, you have put a board like that, Department of Biology. Is everybody joining biology? Everybody is not coming there. Only those who want biology will come there. Those are Department of Psychology. Are all people coming and joining psychology department? No. Only those who are interested in that. So also, when you say Department of Krishna Consciousness, those who are interested will come and join. Why do you bother? You just put it and announce. There is a department of Krishna consciousness, and those who want can come. And those who want will come. Why do you bother? But who is this Vyasa Maharshi? Why should we accept his words and accept this Krishna who is the Lord of the universe, Vishwanatha, you say? Say, what did you eat yesterday? What did you eat day after before yesterday? Do you remember? You don't remember. Whereas Vyasa Maharshi is telling what is going to happen after 5,000 years. He has written a Bhavishyat Purana where he is describing what the situation would be after 5,000 years. You don't know what is going to happen yesterday, what happened day before yesterday, and here is a person who says what is going to happen after 5,000 years, and it is coming true. Some of the evidences show that. Now, is it not great? You say that your word should be accepted. If you say biology is a great science, I should accept it because you are a great biologist or whatever. Here is a fellow who knows about thousands of years in future. And if he says Lord Krishna is great, why should we not accept? He accepts. Put a department and we will come. Those who accept the authority of Vyasa Maharshi and Bhagavad Gita will come and join.
Guruji, I have a confusion.
Confusion?
Yeah.
What is that?
We are born with 5 shields, right?
Huh?
We are born with 5 shields.
Why shields?
Yeah, Annamaya Kosha.
Where are they?
I mean, the body.
Your
the 5
body
layers.
is there all right.
Yeah, so
But
from-
where is the Sushma Sharira? Where is the Karana Sharira? Where are the Panchakoshas?
Yeah.
We have dissected in the medical college. They have what we know, have we dissected any dead body? Not that. If you dissect, you don't find any Sushma Sharira there. You don't find Karana Sharira. You don't find anything and what is there in the body. So why should we accept all those things? They are being narrated by the yogis. And you are follower of those yogis, so you are accepting.
So
Like-
when one dies, Manomaya.
Have you seen Sutma Sarira? Have you seen Karana, this Sukoshas? Now I heard somebody saying that they are going to investigate about 5 koshas here separately. Now what are they going to investigate? See, they are not physical entities, they are concepts. If you are dealing with the mind, see we are talking about mind today, mental, Manomaya Kosha. Mind is operating the body. Mind is operating and directing the pranashakti to do those physiological activities. And the Manomaya Kosha, when we are dreaming, when you are dealing mentally activities, well, you are all in the Manomaya Kosha. And you go on to the intellect, the Buddhi Kosha. You are in the Vijnanamaya Kosha. You try to think, you decide, you mean discriminate, good, bad, and all those things. And Anandamaya Kosha, pure Ananda will be there. And where are you? In the deep sleep condition, you are in Anandamaya Kosha, they say. So, pure I am is Anandamaya Kosha. And that is Karana Sharira, according to the people who talk about Shariras, body, causal body. This I am is the causal mischief maker. He is the causal body.
Now my question is,
First body.
when one dies, the Manomaya Kosha is also gone.
No, it is the Manomaya Kosha that survives.
Okay.
The physical body goes, and the life activities go along with them, along with the body. They go together. But the 3 others, mind, buddhi, and these 3, they survive. It is they which are taken away at the time of death. And then manas takes these indriyas and goes elsewhere. The indriyas, not the eyes and all that, this sight, the ability to see.
See.
So without the body, without the eyes, that mind can see. It can see, it can hear. And that is what the ghosts do. Ghost, you know, what is a ghost? We are all ghosts with bodies.
Without the Annamaya Kosha.
You have the body, that is the ghost.
Yes.
People are afraid of ghosts. But the fact is, we are all ghosts. Having a body, that's all. Body is left and that fellow is there, surviving. And they want, so they want desires. And there are people, there are spiritualist associations. Now, we'll talk it in the evening. So that when you go home, you will remember ghosts. All right. Now, you please get refreshed. 10 minutes, already it is 15 minutes over.